Hurricane Ian slams into Florida while newscasters have a laugh about it. Controlled weather event? So before I get into the topic of this video, I just wanted to say that when I was looking at my analytics, I noticed that about 70% of my viewers are not sub. And I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that sub button. It doesn't cost you anything. I don't charge anything for my videos. And it would help the channel grow. And I would greatly appreciate you for doing that. Now, on to the topic. So, I was watching the coverage of Hurricane Ian, and it was on YouTube. I just went to the first thing that showed up. I didn't really look through anything. And there was a couple of channels. I think it was Fox 35 for Orlando or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But what I do remember is that while I was listening to it, because I was doing other things, so I was just listening in the background, I was hearing the news reporters talk about the damage and the carnage and the power of the hurricane and where it was hitting. And they were showing all these videos and footage of people and pictures that people took and stuff like that, right? Like they were like, oh, it's going up to the second floor, all this, that, and the other. But the one thing that stuck out to me more than all the carnage and destruction of the hurricane was the fact that these newscasters or reporters, whatever you want to call them, they were just chuckling and giggling while they were saying these things. And they weren't outright doing it. It wasn't blatant or obvious. But it was like, imagine if you have like a little dirty secret and you don't want somebody to know about it. So you have a little chuckle or a giggle, right? You're like, oh, they don't know what I know. That's the kind of laugh that they were doing, right? And it was disturbing to me, obviously, because it's almost like as if they enjoy talking about the destruction that this hurricane brings. Now, just so you guys understand, I've noticed this for years. It's just something that I never talked about, right? Or never had a channel to talk about it or whatever. So it's not something I made a video about or anything. I don't think I've even talked to anybody about this, to be honest. But I'm putting it out there because I want you guys to understand the kind of world that we live in, right? We live in a world that's controlled by evil. All the news agencies, all the news reporters, all these people that work for the news, if you see them on Fox, CNN, I don't care what news you watch, they're all controlled puppets, okay? None of these people have a mind of their own. They're all being told what to do and what to think and all of that. I don't care how much they pretend to be independent or the good guys or whatever. I don't care what you believe about the news. They're all controlled puppets, and they're all being told what to say and do. Now, because these puppets are controlled by evil, whenever they see some evil happening in the world, they get off on it. They enjoy it. But of course, they can't blatantly come out and just sit there and laugh and joke about it, because obviously people would know these people are evil and they would retaliate, right? They would rebel. So they have to do it discreetly, right? And again, like I said, when they're laughing and giggling, it's not like a burst of laughter, even though sometimes they almost do that. But it's very subtle, right? And they did it a lot. That's why I was like, wow, this is the most I've ever heard these people chuckle. But it's disturbing because there are people that are actually suffering, dying, and dealing with this hurricane, and these people are enjoying it. So you guys have to open your eyes. Whoever, because a lot of my viewers are good viewers and they're smart, intelligent, they know what's going on. But if you're watching this and you don't, and you find my channel for the first time and you're like, what's this guy about? You need to understand the world that you live in, right? You need to understand that what you see is not exactly what it is. So you might think, oh, I'm just watching the news. But you don't understand who's controlling those people and telling them what to say or do. They're controlled by evil. If you want to call them demons, call them demons. They have different names, right? Different cultures call them different things. But demons is like the general understanding for pretty much any culture. It doesn't matter where you're from. The world is controlled by demons, and these demons work through these people in the news and the media and the governments. And again, they were enjoying what's going on to people. They were laughing about it. I was laughing because I was like, these people are that not oblivious, but they're so obvious, right? They're like just doing it. So if you're watching and you're listening, and let's say you're somebody that's going through this and you're suffering, right? And you're listening to the news and you're hearing people laughing and joking about what's going on with you, I would assume that would piss you off. I'm just saying, if you're in this situation, if you're in Florida and you're dealing with this hurricane, you're listening to the news and these people are fucking laughing about what's going on with you, I would assume you're pissed off about this shit. I'm just saying. I know I would be. But let me move on because I could talk about that all day. I mean, they sit here, they talk about the power of the hurricane. They're like, oh, the destructive power. Oh my God, the winds. This and that. Like they're getting off on what this thing is doing, right? And it's because they enjoy the suffering and the pain that it causes to people, right? And they know the people are helpless to do anything about it. They're like, they can't stop the hurricane. They can't do shit about it. So one thing you guys need to understand, from my understanding, from the research I've done, the weather on this planet has not been natural for a very long time, since probably the beginning of the planet. Ever since there's been outside forces coming to this planet, they've controlled the weather. They've made it how they want. So they can basically cause hurricanes, floods, volcanoes, whatever the fuck they want to do, they can do, right? The ones that control the world can do this. They have the technology to do this, okay? So a hurricane is not a thing but a chicken wing, right? Like, you know how they say that? Like, these people, they can do whatever they want. If they want to make a hurricane, they'll make a hurricane. Like, and not only can they make a hurricane, they also have the technology to stop the hurricane. So you know how they keep flying the planes into the middle of the hurricane? They're like, oh, look how powerful this hurricane is. They also have the technology to be able to shoot an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, into the center of the hurricane, the eye, and disperse the hurricane while it's out at sea, right? So obviously you're not going to do it over land, because you shoot an EMP on land, you're going to shut off all the electricity for everybody. But when the hurricane is formed out at sea, they can go out there and shut it down if they wanted to. They have the technology to do that. But do they do that? Nope. Instead, they fly in there and they're like, oh, look how powerful it is. Look how much destruction it's going to cause. Because they don't give a fuck about you. The people that control this world don't give a fucking shit about, not even a little bit about you. But this is the kind of shit that they do to people. Because, hey, they see humans as dumb animals that are expendable, and they can do whatever they want with them. And they want to farm loosh. If you know what loosh is this energy you create when you're going through stress or suffering or whatever, and they eat that stuff. It's like a drug to them. But that's what they do, and that's why they do these things. So you guys need to understand. So if you look at the big picture, right, there are evil demons that control the world, and they like to feed off of human suffering. It's that simple. So if you look at it that way, everything that you see happening in the world makes perfect sense. If you think about it that way. If you can't fathom that or see that, then you're not going to see the big picture. You're never going to understand why things are happening in the way that they are. Because I hear people all the time saying, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? I don't understand. Because you're not looking at it in the way that you need to. That's why you're never going to see what's really going on. And I'm not talking about most of my viewers, because most of you are intelligent. But if you're like, again, if you're somebody that has never seen me before, or you've never heard this before, you're not looking at it the way you need to look at it. That's why you're missing the big picture. You're missing what's going on. Okay? Anyways, don't think because you don't see the technology and the government's not showing it to you that they don't have it. Okay? You just need to do research, and you'll find out there are people, there are whistleblowers, there are people that know, that are in the know, that have worked for the government, that have worked with these technologies, and they talk about it. They just say it. Period. But one last point I want to make, I guess, is I heard Governor DeSantis, somebody else that people put on a pedestal. They think, oh, he's the next great thing after Trump, yada, 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 right? They want him to be the president. Beware of falling for another fake savior. That's all I'm going to say. You guys already fell for it with Trump. DeSantis is no different. He's just another fucking puppet that is in a position of power right now, and he's being propped up like he's the next great thing, right? He's no better than Trump. That's all I'm going to tell you guys. But go ahead and vote for him. Go ahead and support him. Go ahead and throw yourselves to another person that you want to save you instead of you saving yourself. Okay? People need to learn how to save themselves. Stop waiting for somebody to save you. Anyways, I think I've made enough. Well, to finish that point, I feel like this hurricane is kind of trying to make him look like he's some kind of, look how great he's handling the hurricane. But anyways, I've said enough about that. My heart goes out to the Floridians. I hope you guys recover from this. Again, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you're a viewer. 70% of my viewers are not subbed, and I would greatly appreciate it if you guys sub. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.